Well, hello there and welcome back to the Cozy Club, my friends. It is a beautiful day for a little bit of DSA, and we've got ourselves another raid video for you today. We've been so raid focused since the launch of the Siege on Olympus Raid, and that is for great reason, as I think that the Siege on Olympus Raid is the best, smoothest content to ever come to this game, and it is some of the most fun that I've had and some of the most I've wanted to play DSA by a long shot. And so on today's video, we're going to go ahead and talk about 25 characters that are going to be best to invest in, farm after, to give you and your club the best damage and the best success chance to defeat the Titans on Olympus. And it was tough. It was tough to come up with 25 and only 25. Just because they don't make this list doesn't mean they're a bad character by any stretch of the imagination. But the characters I try to focus on today, I split into 3 different groups, Cozy Club. We've got group number 1, that is going to be the damage dealers. These are going to be the guys that you want to invest the most gear into because they're going to be pumping out the raw haymakers. We've got the support that are going to be enabling the damage dealers to get that damage. You don't need to invest in them too heavy gear-wise, but definitely great to plug into teams. And then the tanks to, just soak up all the damage from the Titans. And so there's going to be things missing from this, like different mechanics, silence and intimidate. We've talked about their importance. This is more focused on kind of characters that are catch-all and can do it all. And so that's what our main focus is. But before we jump in there, Cozy Club, I want to hear from you guys. Who do you guys think right now are the best overall characters to invest in on the Siege on Olympus Raid? Here is my list of 25 that I think are very safe for great damage numbers, especially right now at T4. Very highly dependable and characters I use pretty much no matter what. We're going to have a team guide coming a little bit later, and there's going to be different pieces that you'll need for that team, but these are going to be the main characters within those teams. Again, you'll see that later in the week. Comment down below the characters you think are the best, and let's go ahead and jump into this list of 25 in no particular order. Alrighty, Cozy Club, well, we've got a lot of characters to go through and a lot of information to try to get through, so make sure you watch it all. We're going to try to tell you the abilities and everything you need to know for each character that is going to help you with the best runs possible. Again, we've got them split to damage, support, and tank, and I'll tell you kind of where you want to take them up. All right, Cozy Club, so let's go ahead and fire off this list, starting out in no particular order with Dash. Now, Dash has been forgotten in PvP because of the rise of Hercules, and he struggled there, but he maintains being one of the best by a large amount characters in PvE content, and that does not change for the Siege on Olympus Raid. Guys, he is one you want to take up to T8. I believe if you got a club full of Dash teams, you can nuke down, just like the Eels in the Forbidden Depths, you can nuke down some really important Titans. And that, let me just tell you, he's going to be on some of the team guides that we have later in the week. But with Dash, guys, quickly, you want to get him up to T8. He is a damage dealer. He's one that you want to, if it's not T8 and you're lower level, any of the highest gear possible is definitely what you want to pump into the damage dealers. Dash being one of them. Obviously, heads up and the dash are the most important, but his whole kit is going to be important ability-wise. Dash is going to kick off the list. Run him with an offense stone for great damage, especially between the rock titans with the double head, the tornado titans with the multiple enemies, or the ice spikes in the ice titan is where he's going to excel the most. The next character on the list should be a surprise to no one. Hades, guys. By this point in time, I'm going to be having probably a separate video on this guy. Hades is one of the best, if not the greatest, most dependable damage dealer within the Forbidden Depths. Now, we've always said this, it hasn't really changed with Hades. He cost a lot to get up there gear-wise, and his damage, a lot like Beast, spikes up rapidly the more gear that you have on him. So definitely one you want to focus on, pumping up the gear. Now, if you don't have Hades, I will tell you guys, really, the only thing you need to get up there is his passive and Fireball. Those are going to be the 2 most important things to level up ability-wise. You don't really have to focus on Scorched Earth or Combust. Combust is obviously great, but if you're just going for bang for buck and how the Machine Gun Hades teams works, just his basic attack with the Attack Stone works in every single phase. The MGH is one of my favorite teams by a mile. We have had 2 damage characters. Next, we've got ourselves our first support character, and this is going to go perfectly with Hades. It is Pain and Panic. Now, Pain and Panic do so much, and they can actually put out a fair amount of damage but they're going to be classified as a support character for Hades. You don't have to get them up crazy high. Even at T7, they're going to do the job just fine. And they are here for their basic attack to get Hades pumping out as much damage as physically possible, calling him to assist over and over and over and over. Now, Snatch and Grab and their basic are the main two things that you guys want to level up. Snatch and Grab is great for reducing turn meter on the bosses and using stasis on the tornadoes. But in addition to that, their passives are also really solid. But they're here to bump up Hades as much as possible. Throw a speed stone on them, get them going, shadow them. You guys know the MGH by now, and their basic is where you want to go. This is our first support character in Pain and Panic. You know, opposed to all villains, really, in the Forbidden Depths, they have shined massively. Next up, Esmeralda. We've got our next support character here who is just awesome, guys. Esmeralda, we've talked about her before we even knew what the Titan raid was going to be about. We were talking about how Esmeralda is just a good plug-and-play raid character. I mean, there's nothing about her kit that isn't awesome. First off, she is insane in the Ascension campaign. She's going to really help you get through that, so you're getting a lot of value out of her, but she's a great cleanser, which is needed on every Titan. Feast of Fools is amazing against really all the Titans outside of maybe the Fire Titan. You get a big turn meter reduction, half their turn meter, and you force the Twisters to attack the main Titan. She is the kind of plug and play support for so many different teams. I don't have like a dedicated team for Esmeralda, and that's because she does the job well with everybody. Definitely one of those safe kind of plug in all characters, and Jolly the Goat with her basic packs a punch. Definitely solid. You can use her around T7 to get the job done. Now, ability-wise, all of her moves are pretty important for the most part to get up to do a successful job, but she's worth the investment by a long shot. Let's move on to another damage dealer. We've got Davy Jones. Now, Davy Jones made the list. He's not going to be on all the teams. He doesn't have a team that he specifically does amazing in. He's a plug-and-play damage character, and obviously, he's like the Tornado MVP with those summons. Do You Fear Defeat is just great, consistent damage. Obviously, silence is so important. And then time is up. These are the two that you want to invest in with Davy if you want to use him and if you enjoy using him. He's somewhat of a luxury character at times, but I really like the consistency about his damage and what he can provide. Put him up with Ursula for extra damage, and every time he does the Kraken, he gets it back. And so it has great potency. It lands pretty often. He's got 28% potency, so great landing of that. His little summon minions can do and rack up a lot of damage, and they can kind of take hits for you. Overall, love Davy Jones, a great damage dealer. Although you'll have to invest into him, you know, quite heavily. So if you're kind of on the border of what Oceanic to take up, Davy's the guy. King Triton. We just had a video about him yesterday. Do you need to know more? King Triton is easily one of the best characters to take up for the raid as a support character. You do not need to have him above T8 or even above T7. He'll do the job just fine. Unless the requirements require you to have him at T8, he's going to do everything you need him to do at T7. Prismatic Blessing, Reasonable Mermaid, and his leadership are the three abilities I would focus on, with Prismatic Blessing being the most important by a good shot. Level 3 is a good thing to aim at there. King Triton, I don't need to say much more. He's on every great raid team and very reliable. If you do the raids in any capacity, he needs to be going on your importance chart for farming and gearing up. Our next support on the list is Dr. Facilier. Dr. F, man, he's just been consistently insistent. If you've been following since really the birth of this channel, Dr. Facilier has been on my list. He got an upgrade, and he's still the PvE man with the plan. Now, his healing is great. His basic does good damage. And on top of that, he's got the polymorph to kind of keep things going and an assigned taunt. He's got like a kit built for the Titans. However, by far the biggest thing, like, let's say you don't even like Dr. Facilier, like you just don't want to put your gear and level him up. You don't have to. Get him to T7, and then Evil Deeds, y'all, is the way to go. All you have to do, I only have it at level 2 right now. His leadership is bonkers. It feels way over 18% damage. I don't know what it is, but great potency, great damage. Just get his lead up and plop him with a powerful downtown villain for just easy, consistent raid damage. He'll definitely be featured on our team's video coming up, but Dr. Facilier as a support for healing and his whole kit for the raid is a non-negotiable great investment. Prince Eric, one of our first tanks and supports on the list. Prince Eric is made for the raid, and it continues on the siege on Olympus. He's got great everything. He's got a very solid 2-turn taunt. He has AoE helpful effects that is helpful in literally every single Titan. He can go ahead and take turn meter with max. He's the man. He's the man to go with, and I really like the consistency that Prince Eric brings on the attempts of most of the Titans that I've gone against. He has been really the damage sponge for the teams that I bring in. Super consistent, super viable. You want to take him up as far as you can, but even if you can't get him up too high, he just has a base great kit to start taking the Titans' attention, and a solid tune overall. Remember I was talking about the downtown villain with Dr. Facilier? Well, you're looking at him. He will no doubt be in the team guide. Emperor Zurg is still doing what he's done best since day one, and that is a crap ton of metric damage. This guy just continues to pump out damage. Put that with Dr. Facilier's new leadership ability. You guys can see from this video, 1800 over 1800 with the rapid ion blaster. Big shots with Zurg vision. He combines perfectly with Dr. Facilier, and you put those two together with just about anyone else to survive the Titan, and you're looking at a 200,000 plus easy raid run, guys. If you want good damage and you like downtown villains, I try to put a lot of different damage teams in a bunch of different factions to try to accommodate y'all's rosters. But yeah, Zurg he's ridiculous. Next up is this exclusive character that's not exclusive but is exclusive. He's super hard to get, but then they do events, but he's not farmable. It's Miguel, and Miguel is he's not like groundbreaking. He's not like offering like, oh my gosh, if I didn't have Miguel on this team, I don't know what I would do. But he is a part of one of the best, most consistent raid teams by a good amount. We've talked about it before. You do not need to have him up very high at all for him to do his job well. Now, low star level, he'll be fine within PvP. You need stars to do the raid. So at, a manageable star levels, the best you can bring him up to. Overall, he's just like an awesome team ally. He's got great speed meter up. He's got amazing flipping of all the harmful effects, which there's so many within the siege on Olympus. And his lead gets obviously the mythicals, who is like all of the sorcerers chosen, extra speed. And so naturally, he's going to be a very perfect fit. Miguel is one of those characters, as well as King Triton. If you haven't invested in him, he is worth doing as a support character alone just for the raid. PvP, he's amazing too, but he continues to be successful, especially with these SCs that we have to have. He is going to be the leader of those SCs, and take that, obviously, with Hercules. He's going to just enable him to do insane bonkers damage. The Bay. Are you surprised? Of course you're not. Baymax is going to be a auto taunt, man. That's always going to be important. On top of that, great cleansing. He's got great healing, and he's able to do his job more effectively than just about every single tank. Don't have to say a lot about him. You already know how great he is. You should probably have him already. Great plug and play to fit into a lot of different raid teams. It's no surprise the legendaries have made this list, because overall, they continue to keep that S tier status by continuing to provide usefulness in every single game mode. And Baymax add the siege on Olympus to his resume of being insane. Now, Barley. Now, Frozone kind of outshadowed Barley a lot when it comes to his support, right? But Barley, man, I love him. I use him all the time. And let me tell you, if you have Barley, fear not. He's still insane in the raid. First and foremost, reducing the magic will never get old. You're always going to want that on your team. Once you take the Rock Titan down, you're able to actually use Guinevere. But basic calling to assist. And his Quest of Yore continues to pump out great damage. Barley enables one great character to go from great to legendary insane, like Dash, like Ian. Great characters. You can see here, he gives Dash just over and over. Crit power up, guaranteed crit, enabling him for an amazing amount of damage. Barley is that kind of plug and play support, if you will, and feels like he fits a lot of different teams. You don't have to have him very high. He can be very low overall on just his abilities and his overall leveling. You don't have to invest much to get what you need out of Barles. And with Barles comes Ian, a damage dealer that frankly needs to be talked about more. Ian has a great raid kit, and again, like all damage dealers, both of his specials are going to be important to invest in. He's got a blind on the basic, bonus potency, which is perfect for the Siege on Olympus Raid, and overall just packs a big enough punch to make a massive difference. His big time Voltaire Thundersayer has great damage, it's got speed meter reduction, and overall just solid damage dealer. If you have Onward, go grab Ian if he's already up and ready to go. Plug him in your raid teams. If not, I don't know how high I would put him like on the priority list, but if you're looking for another guy to pump out some good damage, Ian's pretty consistent. Now, we couldn't leave off some of these SCs. I try not to do all the SCs because I didn't want to just make another list of like, hey, farm all these characters. But Merlin is not like a game changer in this raid in the sense of like, you have to have him on your teams, especially compared to some of the other sorcerers chosen. However, Merlin's cleansing that he provides on the Lava and the Ice Titan, mostly those two Titans, is so massive. His spell charge and then his sleep. His sleep for Tornado Titan, his sleep for the Ice Spikes. I mean, being able to instantly kill with a basic really helps him up. I'd like to get someone to boost up his turns or get a haste on him to really get his basic moving and then use his cleanse when needed or his turn meter reduction. Merlin's an SC, so you're going to have him anyway, and he's a great plug-and-play support for so many teams, especially Mythicals with Hercules. Man, me and him have a back-and-forth relationship. He is just something. I hate him, I love him, I hate him. I usually hate him because of just early days of doing some segments on Twitch, but he's great for the raid. His what's the big idea is something you really want to level up to get the taunts flowing back and forth. He's like a great secondary taunt, and then you have another tank on the team, and they kind of alternate. Good, consistent counters with put him up. You're going to see his lady friend here in a little bit, but the counters can stack up. A little RNG dependent, but he's got the whole package. The leadership, he's got everything he needs to provide himself some great damage. I love Donald. I think the Pantless Wonder is going to continue to do well. If I only have 5 teams, I don't often put him on one of those 5 teams. However, he's a good tank option. If you've already invested in Sensational 6 for Conquest, love plugging him into different teams to really help out. And you don't have to farm up another tank, as he can do both tank and offense and have a little bit of a hybrid thing going on. Ooh, Jack Skellington. He's doing like the Chris Collinsworth slide in. I love it. Jack Skellington, finally, those that are big MBC fans, say it in the comments. You finally get good viability out of Jack Skellington. Now, really his main deal is going to be the Rock Titan and anything pre-Rock Titan, or just consistent debuffs. If you haven't, guys, it's not the sexiest video. Go watch the Why Fear is Important video up in the top right-hand corner. Scary Face is the one that you want to level up, and Hail the Pumpkin King. Those two are the 2 abilities that you want to level up. The rest of them, don't worry about it. Put a Speed Stone on him, have him put the Fear out there, and have him put the Taunt on someone like Hercules. He's going to give you more consistent runs, and if you're struggling on the Rock Titan, he's by far one of the most quintessential characters for that phase in the Siege on Olympus. Megara. Oh, Meg. Okay, so Megara is interesting. Meg is here solely because of one other character, and we know that. Meg is not going to do much of anything else unless she's with Hercules. So, disclaimer, she barely made the list, and I kind of put like a pay-to-play option along with her with Wendy. We'll get to her next. Megara is there to enable better Hercules runs. Hercules is the best, probably overall character. We'll get to him here in a moment, but Hercules is great. Megara has him assist with every basic. Also, you can do I Won't Say, and that's going to go ahead and just enable him with more turn meter. Also, on top of that, he can go ahead and be called to assist with Keep Moving Junior. And she has great evasion and just like overall survivability. Like, she stays alive longer than Hercules does, because Hercules is like, come at me, bro, with like the protects, and he's like, come get some. Whereas Meg has like undefeatables, great evasion, and she's just having Hercules punch up and do great damage overall. Which leads us to Hercules. Now, Hercules, guys, no shocker here. He wasn't in SC, which was a little bit of a head scratcher, but he doesn't need to be. And that's great, because everything his whole kit's about is perfect for the raid. Offense down on basic, super hard, triple hitting basic. 0 to hero has a counter, also has protect, which is useful in so many aggro situations. Aggro meaning you want the Titan to attack you, and Hercules, like, he doesn't care about being attacked. It feeds his turn meter, it feeds his true hero, which he'll be able to self-cleanse. Hercules, invest into Hercules everything you got. He's going to be useful now. He's going to be useful when Zeus comes out. Hercules with Megara those two together with the Miguel lead is a guaranteed 400,000, which you'll see in the team guide later on. We talked about Donald Duck. Here is the lady friend Daisy Duck. And Daisy Duck is... she just does what she needs to do in the Siege on Olympus. Daisy Duck is going to extend helpful effects, which is important in the Lava Titan especially, but is always useful in the other Titans as well, especially the Rock Titan and the Tornado. I mean, she's great all around. You could put her with Donald in the S6 for a great counter team. She enables Donald Duck to do his job even better, attack up. Great overall passive for any team. Daisy Duck, great support that doesn't need a lot of investment. Maybe T7 and get Showtime and her Duck Diva up there. You'll be good to go. You don't even have to worry about damage on her, especially if you're free to play. Just have her be the support that really brings out where she shines. All right, now we had like pretty much like a billion free to play options, so I'm going to throw in a couple pay to play options. Frank Wolff, Frank the Tank, The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson is the overall probably the most consistent, like up there with Hercules raid character. I mean, the guy can take damage for days. He has great turn meter reduction. He does good Proxima, does as much as like anyone else does damage wise. If you haven't already, or if you have him, I'm not going to go into him too long. We have plenty of videos talking about him. His whole leadership is based literally on the raid, and he's probably going to be my first G9, him or Elsa, most likely. Still debating on a few of those, but what he gets from his leadership upgrades, Proxima's great. Go watch the whole guide on him. He continues to do amazing things with the Adventurer faction in the Siege on Olympus, which I know you're surprised. Moana's on the list. Now, Moana being an adventurer, following by Frank. You notice I don't have Lily, as Lily's good for the cleansing, but not like essential. Obviously, she's going to be really good. I mean, if you're going for Frank, go for Lily. But Moana, you guys have saw that on Team Slap Zone. She can do so much damage with the slows. She continues to do what she always does so well. She has a good taunt that calls people to assist. She has good slows. Moana is one of the premier damage dealers in this raid for easy, consistent damage, and nothing changes from the Forbidden Depths PvP. She's still in the S tier. We're coming to a close here soon. We have one of the legendaries we haven't talked about, Beast. And Beast will always be consistent. Funny enough, I don't find me using him a ton in a lot of the raid testing that I'm doing because I already know how good he is. Having the Intimidate, I didn't put Bell on here. You can put them together. Bell and Get Out and Beast can put Intimidate for the Tornadoes for better runs. Great solid damage, great attention, perfect tenacity with the roses, 53% base, and he's got the roses to stack on top of that to take consistent damage without taking the harmful effects. Beast does what Beast does well. If you haven't by now, he's definitely worth investing in. I'd probably go for Hercules first and then Beast, just with how the raid's flushing out and how important the mythicals are, but really solid character altogether. Now we've got another pay-to-play character, but I had to talk about her. Ooh, Tiana. Yeah, Tiana is just going to do what you need her to do in the raid. She's got Come and Get It, the Gumbo Pot, obviously really good for full team assists. It has a taunt, it has Undefeatable, so it can take hits, and it heals other princess characters or just other characters altogether. She calls characters to assist. She has an amazing cleanse and an amazing heal and a great passive to boot. Tiana is the new, like, you gotta have her character and just wait until she becomes farmable. But when she does, I don't have a team assigned for her. I plug her in where I need a good, solid cleanser. Ice Titan to be specific. She can go with Tornado Titan because of Gumbo Pot. Really solid. Her basics lackluster, but if you know how to manage her abilities, get the Gumbo up, break the spell up, and that's what you'll need for the base to have one of the best cleansers by a large amount, kit standard-wise, within the game. Now, Wendy's not officially on this list, but I wanted to throw her in here as an option. She's like what I was going to have Megara for, but I don't want too many pay-to-play options. Wendy is great, and Wendy, the secret of Wendy, why people don't realize why she's so solid is beyond me. I Saved Your Shadow for You is pretty much the only ability you need to invest in her, and Why You're Very Welcome also works great. Wendy is continually amazing, and she can shadow Frozone or Moana, just for two easy examples, or Beast or Bell or several other people, to do consistent damage overall. And then Why You're Very Welcome calls them all to assist. And so great to pair up. Right now, hold off. You can't even farm her if you wanted to, but right now there is a major bug. Glue, if you're seeing this, please fix it. Shadows are hitting 1 damage on and off consistently. Sometimes no, sometimes yes. But Wendy is such a great character for the raid and for one of the best min-maxing teams. Frozone, the best SC. If you haven't invested into him yet, there's just no good reason not to. His damage is insane, people. His stasis ability, everything he does, put your gear and your abilities into Frozone. He's going to continue to be amazing, and he's the Ice King, which brings us to our last character, which is going to be the Ice Queen, Miss Elsa. Elsa is back. Elsa is back. It's like, I don't know if you guys watch college football, like Texas is always like, we're back, UT. They're not. Yeah, Elsa is, whew, Elsa pumps out amazing damage. Elsa is useful in the Rock Titan most specifically. She is very widely available for free to play and very solid altogether. Does consistent damage and is just one of the best raid characters because of her survivability and her damage output. Guys, we're going to be having her in some teams later on, but Elsa is also one that you can safely get up there as a damage dealer. Whew. So, my friends, that was 25 plus a couple extras raid characters that are all safe investments, solid within all phases of the raid. They all do something very important for the teams that they're on. Guys, it has been raid week. It's going to be raid month. I'm excited about it, and y'all, just a lot to go over, and thank you for being patient as there's so much content. I'm trying to prioritize when to get out what. Now, one more time, guys, here are all the characters. We have the damage dealers being Frank the Tank, who obviously is a tank, but also is damage dealing with Proxima, Moana, Frozone, Hercules, Elsa, Dash, Hades, Davy Jones, Zurg, and Ian. Those are the ones you want to take up to tier 8. We have the support that enable the damage being mainly T7. You have Painted Panic, Esmeralda, Merlin, Triton, Dr. F, Wendy, Miguel, Barley, Jack Skellington, Merlin, Daisy, and Meg. And then lastly, you've got the great tanks like Eric, Baymax, Donald, and Beast. My friends, thank you so much for checking out the best characters. Invest in these ones. Trust me, guys, these are going to be ones time over time that are going to be very useful within the siege on Olympus. Add them to your farming chart, and best of luck out there with the other team guides. If you haven't already, guys, subscribe to the Cozy Club today. It helps massively support these videos. And until next time, stay cozy, my friends.